So
your friend is back at the helm. Betty's brigade is back from her honeymoon. She says she comes forth and she says, Mr. Chapman, what can we do about all these liars in the publications, specifically the newspapers out there? On my trip back into the States, I found an article written by a Michael Collins Piper that referenced the New York Times publication printing an article of a Dr. Melvin, somebody. All I can remember his name was Melvin, after my brother. But the article was supposedly talking about how the Federal Reserve was created to take money, take bank control away from over American currency. That's an out-and-out lie. How can they get away with such fraudulent lies in the newspapers that go out around the world, and people look at these newspapers and say, how can they even believe it?
Well, the Federal Reserve was created to control the monetary things that the United States does. It's a private corporation. It's owned by 12 regional Federal Reserve banks. And the original shareholders, the large ones, still have their large position. It's kept in their families and their families of American and European bankers. During the late 1800s, we had a terrible depression in the 1870s, worse than 1930s. And it was followed by panics in 1882, 1892, 1897, and 1905. So the bankers said, hey, this is a big opportunity for us. We're going to form the Federal Reserve. Everybody will think it belongs to the government, in time, but it really doesn't. But that's okay. And when we control the monetary system and the interest rates, the creation of money and credit, and we can make credit and money out of thin air, we'll own it all. And the Federal Reserve has been looting America for all those years, 96 years. And the Bank of England's been doing the same thing in England, incidentally. And so I don't know what the article by Mr. Piper said, but the people who are in the Federal Reserve are crooks. And the people on Wall Street who run the firms, most of them are crooks as well. I spent 28 years in Wall Street. I know what they do. Can you hear me?
Is there any hope that we can get this bill out there that Ron Paul has created and literally get it passed, or is it going to be the same old? Well, there's 240 of us that co-sponsored it, but we just don't have enough votes to get it passed. And they get out there and they actually get the vote, and hypothetically, let's say 40 congressmen that would have voted for it are bought off, and the vote comes up short 5 or 10, and they do a secret ballot. Is that the real possibility of what's going to happen?
Well, they don't have secret ballots, but it's possible that could happen, yes. I mean, to have brought the bill this far is a miracle. And if we can get it passed, it's going to be a bigger miracle. And I think we can get it passed. It's up to you to put the heat on the people in Congress. And tell everybody that you know to tell them to pass this bill, H.R. 1207, the Federal Reserve Transparency Act of 2009. I'll tell you right now, we don't get this bill passed, it's curtains for this country. It's over. It's as simple as that.
Mr. Chairman, I just arrived here in London on Marine Security Guard duty, and there seems to be a large Asian crisis going on, as I was stationed in Southeast Asia for a year, and this is my second assignment. there seemed to have been a collapse of the Thailand's baht just a few years ago, and now things are looking bad. Do you feel that that Europe is on the brink of collapse?
Well, first of all, the Thai government was essentially overthrown about 3 weeks ago. And he's referring to the problems of 1998 when they had them all over Asia. And I don't know what the problems are other than a coup that they had in Thailand, but they're going to have trouble all over the world. In Europe, they're going to have even more trouble. I just got an email this morning from somebody in London, and we have a lot of subscribers in England. And this was an American who had been living over in Germany, went over to London. And she said that many of the stores in London that are in the shopping areas are American companies. And she said that they were undercutting the prices in the British shops by like 25%. Now, how they do that, I don't know, but anyway, they are, because that's what she said. And but England has terrible problems. They have very large groups of minorities, many of them Muslims, and if it gets real bad there, they could have a civil war in that country. And the same thing is true in Belgium and in France. And this incursion over the past 50 years, well, actually, it's more like, it's actually 55 years since they allowed Muslims to come in from the Middle East and Africa. They will not amalgamate with the other people who are there. And sooner or later, there's going to be real trouble. Never mind the financial problems. They got religious problems is what they got.
Well, we'll get right back, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to have to take a break here, and we'll be right back with Bob Chapman, and we'll get into those questions that you're sending me about Sweden and Swedish exposure to the Baltic trio, specifically Latvia and Lithuania. 3 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. This is Drew Malone, Range to Third, with Wind Talkers Radio Network, heard live around the world on Wind Talkers and on the Internet through Blog Talk International Internet Radio.